Hello and welcome to the Six Star Business Podcast. I'm your host, Aveline Clark, calling in from sunny east coast of Australia, not far from Byron Bay. That's where I am. Today it is episode 55 and my co-host today is a wonderful friend and colleague in the Six Star community, Indra Hoffman. He's a mindset coach based in Sydney, Australia. And our two guests, we have Tobi and Kylie. Now, Tobi is a serial entrepreneur. He lived in Fiji, set himself up in Fiji for a while until the pandemic hit and he had to return back to his original home. And he's a lot of fun. Something interesting about Tobi that he shared, and I have to share this because when I heard it, I was like, wow, imagine having that story to tell. He was once arrested by the Colombian army in the mountains and jungle of Colombia as a suspected terrorist. And they interrogated him and later released him because it was a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. What a story. He's actually a serial entrepreneur. He's wonderful. He's very values-based and conscious of educating entrepreneurs, and he's got a wealth of experience. Our other guest, Kylie, something interesting about her, she is actually an independent location entrepreneur. So what does that mean? It means that she can live and she lives and travels and works and isn't tied down to a particular place. Whilst the last couple of years have seen us all work remotely, Kylie's been doing it for about 4 years, and what she does, she's actually an executive coach, leadership coach, and more recently moved into book coaching, and she shares a lot of wisdom from her experience working with many people. And that combined with Tobi's experience, it resulted in a really lovely conversation. So put on those earphones or crank up the volume, sit back and enjoy it. I look forward to hearing from you if you're in the community, and if not, please get in touch. Don't forget to like, subscribe and give us a rating on the podcast. If this is what you really love, we'd love to hear from you and give us some feedback. Have a fabulous day and enjoy this conversation with Tobi and Kylie.
Awesome things, Tobi. Say lots of awesome things.
Try.
Well, we are four awesome people. How do I know? Because we are on the Six Star Business Podcast. Welcome, Tobi, and hello, Kylie. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hey, Indra.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Good to have you here as my co-host tonight. I always love facilitating this podcast. I love the conversations that come out, and I'm really excited to have both of you on today. To kick us off, I always ask our guests a few sort of standard questions just so that we can get to know who you are. And they are, so could you tell our audience who you are, where you are in the world, who you serve, how you serve them, of course, and maybe something you like to do when you're not working. Who'd like to kick us off?
Oh,
Tobi,
ladies
why don't
first.
you go first? Oh,
Ladies first. I'll go first if you want.
I'm happy to go first. Okay, you go
ladies.
first. I say polite.
Right.
Okay, I'll go first. So
Yeah, you go
I'm
first.
Kylie Zeal. I'm just taken over. I'm Kylie Zeal, and I am a book coach. I've been a coach for about 13 years, but more recently, in the last few years, I've specialized in book coaching, which is such a beautiful intersection between coaching and this other thing that I love, books. Where am I? So currently I am in Adelaide in Australia, and I said currently because I've been traveling full time since November 2018. And so I'm here for about another week before I move on again to a new house and location. I serve, book writers. I especially love people who write books that are making the world a better place. So I love people who really feel like they have something to say about how the world could be improved in some way that's connected to their knowledge and their expertise, and putting that into some kind of logical structure and into a book format. So I particularly love working with people like that. I also love fiction, though. I'm writing a fiction novel myself at the moment, which I guess answers the question you're talking about in terms of what I like to do when I'm not working, although technically that is kind of working for me as well, but it's just a lot of fun. And I think I've covered all the questions. Evelyn, have I missed anything?
Aye, perfect. Lovely. Thank you, Kylie. And Tobi, over to you.
All right, Tobi Nagi from Melbourne, Australia. Currently in Melbourne, of course. But I've been living in the Fiji Islands, and I guess as part of my semi-retirement, I thought to myself one day, I'm not a tree, so I might as well just go somewhere where it's warm and I like to be. And it happened to be Fiji, so that's quite interesting. Now, what do I do? Well, I'm a former university lecturer. Excuse me. I'm also a founder and entrepreneur. I'm founder of the BCF Coaching Academy. So when I say entrepreneur, I've been a serial entrepreneur now for nearly 29 years. Excuse me. Be able to start up running a range of startups. And my latest startup is called BCF Coaching Academy, which is an online education institute for entrepreneurs. And I guess the question is, why did I begin this journey of setting up an online academy? Well, being a former university lecturer, I was heavily involved in teaching entrepreneurship in particular startups, and it was always face to face. And then what the COVID thing came, so I had to really do a pivot. And now everything I do is just online, and basically it's gone digital, full digital transformation. Which the good thing about it allows me to do stay wherever I want to go. So if I want to be in Fiji, I can run the business. If I want to be in Australia, if I want to be anywhere in the world, I can run the business. Now, who do I serve? I primarily serve people that want to have a go-to-market strategy and are thinking about launching their next big idea quickly and effectively and at low cost. So this could be people, corporate people looking to transition to a side hustle. It could be mompreneurs. It could be people have started a business already, might have started their side hustle. It's not working to the way they want it to work. So they're just looking for a bit of transition to speed up. And how I speed this up is I test and validate the market before they launch, right? So many people launch ideas and simply don't work because they're just not needed. They have no connection with the customer. So part of the process I work with is allows people to do a customer testing and validation process before they launch. And effectively, if it doesn't work, we just go back and reiterate, or we pivot. And if not, then basically we throw the idea away, because there are too many people failing in small business, failing early. And I think if you look at the facts about small business, in America, 30,000 new products are launched every year, and of which 85% fail within the first year as well. So it's quite a high failure rate, and I'm sure most of you are aware of the failure rates with entrepreneurship. And the fact is that most entrepreneurs don't understand the fundamentals. So the program I run is called Startup Fundamentals, which allows you to get these fundamentals correct. So get your strategy, get your market dominant position, test it and validate it with the customer, and then go to market, rather than the other way around. Typically, the other way around is people just build a business and then they just go after market, and then they come to Tobi or come to Evelyn or come to Kylie or Andre, and they say, can you find me a market, or can you find me customers? Which is, these days, it's a wrong way to go, because people just simply don't care. They don't care who you are, and therefore you've got to find people that actually do care. So part of the process that I work with is we find early adopters and early innovators. These are people usually with the biggest problems, and they're also the people most likely to engage with what you're doing. Because when you look at the mass market, simply doesn't care. So that's the hard bit, is to try and find out what we call our beachhead market. Is where we're going to land first, where we're going to find our first customers. And then what we do is, obviously, once we've found our beachhead customers, we spread out to the wider market. But you've got to be able to niche that market down, like a niche it. And the more you niche, the more successful you can become. Yeah, I've got to talk about also what I like doing out of work. And one of the things I focus heavily on is mental wellness and mental well-being. So for 2022, my focus is on mental well-being, because I'm seeing a lot of my customers and a lot of people in my circle, they're having this I guess this mental trauma associated with lockdown. And when I mean mental trauma, I mean, if you ever played tether tennis, I don't know if you guys remember tether tennis with the pole with a coil around there, and you whack the ball this way, whack the ball that way, whack the ball until it goes around the coil. Well, I think most business owners are like that at the moment. So if it's not lockdowns, then it's like, can't find staff. I can't get suppliers for my business. And then all of a sudden we've got this shadow lockdown, which is now customers aren't coming because people are afraid to leave home because they're going to catch COVID, right? So imagine trying to run a bricks and mortar business. Imagine trying to run a restaurant. You're going to have some serious serious traumas associated with that. So part of what I'm focusing on this year is a wellness retreat, and it's launching in May 2022 in Bali. So part of the process is it's called the Founders Retreat, and we're looking at a rejuvenation and I guess relaxation for founders, but also there's also going to be a co-working space as well associated with that. So you can come do yoga and do all that sort of stuff in the morning, have a vegetarian, vegan diet, then go off and do your business. And most people, I guess, running international businesses, you can be running them, anywhere in the world, any time of the day. And our focus is on, I guess, digital entrepreneurs and digital nomads. And what we aim to do is essentially run these retreats over different parts of the world. So we're looking at doing 5. The first one's in Bali. The second one's in Fiji. The third one we're looking at Vietnam. Fourth one we're looking at Panama. And the fifth one is possibly Greece or Hungary. We're not sure yet. But essentially it's a month stay, but you can come for 7, 14, 21 or 28 days, depending on how you see it. So we're just really concerned about, I guess, the legacy associated with all these this trauma associated with the lockdown. And we want to try and help founders, especially entrepreneurs, to deal with this. So that's my pet project, but also my mission for 2022.
Wow,
Amazing.
that's huge.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Just a pet project. Nothing too big.
Well, to be honest, we want to try and make it into a lifestyle business where we can just work and travel anywhere in the world. I mean, how good is that? Really, just different parts of the world. And it's not about making money. It's about building community and friendships as well. And yeah, hey, if we can pay for our own accommodation, that's fine. That's all we need. As long as we're running our other businesses on the side, that's all we ask for. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Because Kylie, I know you travel full time.
Yes,
don't
I
you?
think I'll need to chat with Toby about how I can head over to Fiji. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think Fiji is the place to go at the moment because of the low COVID restrictions. I mean, if we didn't have the COVID restrictions and all that nonsense with COVID, this would be a no-brainer, really. But with Bali, it's a little bit delicate at the moment. So there's still 7 days of quarantine, and you have to go to Jakarta. We hope it'll change by May, but we don't know. But anyway, if not, it'll just be a good holiday for us. But certainly, our one in Fiji is only 3 days of quarantine required. So you can come along, and then you can travel anywhere, basically. And that's the beauty of Fiji, because that's kind of my home, my second home, really. And I really understand Fiji, and there's some awesome places that I can just show everyone and take people to.
Sounds divine.
I'm watching the smile on your face, Toby, and I can just sense the delight and the glee at the thought that you're going back there. I can just see it on your face.
Yeah, it is interesting. I always think about it every day. It's like, when am I going to go back? When can I go back? It's not really up to me. It's more to do with the current environment. But certainly, if I had a choice, I'd be there tomorrow. It's like, I've got lots of friends there and stuff, and just community. And I enjoy the people.
That's lovely. I've heard lovely things about Fiji.
Got to come along. Definitely got to come along when I'm there.
We definitely want to. We want to be there with you.
I was just going to say, the thing is, it's only for Australians, it's only 5 hours away. So essentially, people can come like on a Friday. They arrive Saturday morning. They stay Saturday, Sunday, and they can leave Monday morning to go back to work. Basically, that's how close Fiji is. It's not like we have to go even as far as Thailand, or it's 6 or 8 hours or whatever it is. It's really close and convenient, and everyone speaks English, so it makes it a lot easier to get around and stuff. I mean, I go to the most remote places in Fiji, and people still speak English, which is amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Wow. I'm really fascinated to know. This question is directed at both of you. What was it about the notion of 6-star that attracted you or caught your attention long enough to say, yeah, I'd like to go on that podcast and talk about what it means to be 6-star?
Well, ladies first.
Who goes first? Hang on, we did this last time. Who goes first? Okay, so I can answer that question. What attracted me to the podcast really was like chatting to you, Evelyn, and Pete, and like for me it's about the people, but also the 6-star concept. Like it didn't feel really new to me. Like for me it seems logical. What is 6-star? It's about going above and beyond. What I loved most was about, and I read this in your book because of course when I knew you had a book I ordered it straight away because I'm the book coach, I read the books. And in fact I went and ordered it, and just to discover that I had pre-ordered it, so I wasn't even able to get it straight away, but finally when it arrived I read the book, and one of the concepts I loved the most was to have a 6-star business, you need to be a 6-star person. And that's something I really resonate with. That's very much my coaching style. As someone who started her coaching journey doing a psychology degree, it's kind of part of my nature to want to know what's going on beneath the surface. Like what is the story that sits beneath the behaviors? What are the beliefs that sit beneath the actions of someone, or how they feel in every moment? So I love that was an important part of the book really early on. You even talked about some of the basics, like make sure you get enough sleep and meditate. It's similar in my first book, which is called 7 Freedom Elements. I talk about self-care as being an important part of experiencing a life of freedom. And also I wrote a whole chapter on energy, because a lot of people think that our most important asset is time. Time is finite. But really, it's not our most important asset. Energy is, because your energy determines how you spend your time. So a lot of what I was reading in the 6-star business book really resonated with things that I'd read around this concept of it being a 6-star person. I would say that a 6-star person is someone who also experiences freedom in the way that I wrote about it. So there was definitely resonance there.
Wow, beautiful. I'm not sure we've had someone that's come out and said 6-star person, freedom in the same sentence. That's new. I love it. Wow, thank you.
Thanks.
Tobi.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, it makes sense to me, actually, what you just said. But I've always been around the concept of excellence. And no matter what you do, you always do it with the best of your ability. And I guess it just comes from that European heritage, and that is, just do the best you can. But in terms of the way I teach people in my program is that focus on trying to become like the top 10% in the world. People ask me, how do you make money in business? Well, first of all, you've got to stop chasing money. And second of all, what I believe is you've got to become the top 10% in the world in what you do, no matter what you do, right? No matter if it's writing books or driving a bus or cleaning or something. And only then can you actually get to a point where people start to recognize you and then come to you and say, well, come and help me or come and work with me, whatever. But until then, you just kind of get stuck in that mediocre stage. And I hate being mediocre. That's one thing I couldn't think of anything worse than leading a mediocre life, but also doing things in a mediocre way. So my belief is you're going to do things, do it to the best ability, and then people will recognize you for that. And the other thing, of course, I say to people say, how do you make money in business? And I just say, you've got to solve a complex problem. The more complex the problem is, the more money you will make. And if you do it to a high level of excellence, then you're guaranteed of being, basically wealthy in that sense. And you look at most of these people that have done really well, they focus on perfection. Now, perfection can also be a bit of neurosis as well, a bit extreme. In my teaching, the startups, I say perfection is not that important in a startup. most important thing, a startup is getting to market. And what you do is you perfect it along the way, right? Because perfection is one of those things that you chase but you can never reach. I think probably Steve Jobs is probably about, and probably Elon Musk are the two most biggest perfectionists I know that are all still well, Jobs was chasing continually, but in terms of getting to that point, they're really stuck on becoming perfectionist, and I think that's important because that's when the excellence does come out. But in a startup, it's not good because if you try to become a perfectionist before you launch, then you'll never launch. Basically, you always make excuses about trying to get it perfect. I think as long as you launch something that's not crappy and it works, you can always make iterations as you go along the way and improve. And that's why working with customers as well, because they'll tell you what they need anyway. Then you can build it as you go along and fine tune it and perfect it. So that's sort of my viewpoint on trying to do something. You do it with your best ability.
And how do you bring in 6-star into your businesses? Do you have an approach? How you look at each businesses that you are running?
You go first this time, Tobi.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So in terms of 6-star, I always just try and focus on trying to understand who is doing, like in terms of competitor, who is doing the best, right? And then try to emulate that. So you haven't got a benchmark. Okay. Well, what is quality? What is excellence, right? Start to look at the competitors and first of all see what they're doing wrong, right? Or how you can improve, make it quicker, shorter, cheaper, whatever, faster, and then look at the outstanding performers and try to emulate that. I'm not sure if that's answered your question, but I always look at trying to always continually improve, right? Always educate yourself, always learn. So for my mind, creating a learning environment is important as well, no matter what I do, right? So part of the 6-star process, of course, would be to create a learning environment where you continue learning, continually improving. And I guess, come back from the, the 3 C's of quality control: customers, commitment, and continuous improvement. That's what is really, really important, I think. Just being committed to what you're doing, being focused to what you're doing, but also continually improving and then using those benchmarks that you see around you as guides as well. And also coming back to, I think what Evelyn talks about a lot is having a purpose as well. That's a really, really important thing to do when you start building a business. You've got to have a purpose in your business. You've got to know where you're going, because that purpose is like the North Star that guides you. It's always there, on the horizon. You know where to turn to, or you may not ever reach it, right? But it's always there as a guide for you. So really important these days to have a purpose. And there have been lots of studies done on this. I think one study I read by PwC, they were saying that having a purpose in business, 95% of CEOs agree that that's the way forward. So if you don't have a purpose, you're just doing things, chasing money, all that sort of stuff, then what'll happen is it can never become a long-term thing for business. And if you know the facts about business, I think the average lifespan of a company in Australia is about 7 years, right? So the whole idea of in my instance, when you create a startup, you've got to be able to turn that startup into an organization. And then what happens is you want to turn that organization into an institution, basically, likes of IBM or Nestle, whatever it is. That's what a sustainable business it really is. I think most people fall way short. And part of the process is, obviously there's got to be transformation from an entrepreneur to an entrepreneurial leader. And in that process, you've also got to be able to create a learning organization that's constantly evolving. And that's where the 6-star process can come in, and with the continuous improvement, and also with, I guess, just building excellence in what you do. So I hope
Thanks,
that's answered your
Tobi.
question. Yeah.
Sounds
Absolutely.
great. So for me, when I think about what makes my business 6-star, because I don't normally ask that question, but asking it now, it comes back to, for me, words like reliability, commitment, integrity. I'm someone who is not late for meetings. If I tell my client I'm going to do something, I always do it. I follow up very regularly with my clients, especially if they're new to writing books. Like it's not unusual for me to send a message every second day just to say, how are you going? Where are you at? Are you stuck with anything? I always say, if you get stuck, reach out to me, because I don't want to get to the next coaching session to find out that they haven't done their homework, because even though they were trying, they got stuck. So I always make myself available, and I've never once felt like I've had people call me an unnecessary amount. I think I've heard people talk about, well, you can't just make yourself available to clients all the time. You'll just be on the phone all the time to clients. Honestly, I think they should call me more often than they do. But I guess it's always worked out, even though I've told them to call me if they get stuck. I think this is possibly the reason why, like, I've got clients who have been with me for more than 10 years. These are clients who aren't writing books because they've been around longer than I've been writing books. And I'll sometimes joke with them. I'll say, I must be the worst coach. Like, why are you still here? Aren't you fixed yet? Like, it's been 10 years. But these are amazing people. They're leaders in their fields. And the truth is, we grow together. And I think that is, if I had to think about the reason why are they still here after all their time, is because they can count on me. I'm reliable. I've always been there for them. You know, when it's been 10 years, you inevitably go through experiences like when a parent passes away, or relationship troubles, or redundancies. These are real examples that have happened with these clients. And you show up, you be there for your clients. They're more than just someone who pays an invoice every now and then. Like, I respect them. I love them as people. But that develops over time, I think, with starting with just showing up and keeping your word and doing what you always say you're going to do.
That's it. That's interesting, because
I think
I've
that's
also
my
tried to.
six.
Sorry, Kylie. I was just going to say that's interesting because I
No.
also tried to bring into my work the 6-star approach. And I was a university lecturer, and those of you who have ever been into, I guess, being a student, or whatever, you know how difficult and challenging it can be with your lecturers. And one of the things I used to say to my students is again, that 6-star approach is be approachable, but when you send me an email or a notice, I'll try and get back to you within 2 hours, right? Because nothing worse than you're in a situation, you're stressed out, trying to figure something out, and it takes 2 weeks for the lecturer to get back to you with an email. Right? Really, really disappointing. Even 3 days, even 2 days. In fact, most of those lecturers I probably would have sacked if I was running a business, right? My promise was I'll get back to you in 2 hours, and the reason, and if I don't get back to you in 2 hours, even with just a hey noted message, or I'll get back to you shortly, it means I've either missed the message, because you get 50 messages a day. So come back to me and send the message again, because I know how it is to to be reliable and to be, I guess, a bit transparent as well. So that's one of the approaches that I try to do. And also, simple things like turning up on time, really important, right? As a 6-star approach. And talk about integrity. Now, interesting about integrity is, no matter what values you do have, right, if you don't have integrity, then the rest of values mean nothing. So integrity isn't even really a value. It's just a pillar, basically. It's a pillar of life. It's a pillar of business. So for people to tell me that their business has integrity, no, that's just a given. Basically, you don't have integrity. You can have anything in the world in terms of values. It just means nothing, right? So important to have transparency. I think honesty is really important, because when you're honest, you also build trust, and without honesty, you can't build trust. But certainly, one of the things I also don't like doing is wasting people's time. So I try to turn up on time, and also same thing as Kylie does with the clients. I always set up a WhatsApp group or a Telegram chat And essentially, if people want to connect with me, they can directly. My clients are talking about, some of them are on Messenger, right? They see them online. They send out a little bit of a bit of a thing. Hi, how are you? I'm a bit stuck on things, because I want to be there for people. They're paying all this money, and I feel like the most important aspect is the human-to-human connection. If you've ever run a startup before, you realise as an entrepreneur, it does become a lonely road, to the point where people don't actually understand what you're talking about. The only one that really understands what you're talking about is really your coach and the person that's sort of guiding, your mentor that's guiding you. So it's really, really important to have that human to human connection as part of the 6-star process, I think.
How can you tell that someone, and this could be a customer of yours, Kylie, maybe a coaching client who first comes to you, or you, Tobi, someone who comes along and says, I've got a great newfangled idea, I want to come to the academy. How can you tell, or do you try and filter them for integrity and these values and these things that we're talking about?
Okay, so, well, one, yes, I am interested in knowing if they have integrity and if they're reliable. It's not necessarily a requirement for me to work with them. In lots of cases, that's why they need my help. I had one gentleman come to me for book coaching, and after having a couple of conversations with him, and in both cases with those meetings, they were delayed, postponed, and I just rolled with it. No worries, you want to change the time, that's fine. And I just was walking my talk. I wanted him to see that I will always show up at the time that we have said, unless I obviously have a very good excuse. We do have human lives as well, and some things are unforeseen. The point is, it was clear to me that in his case, this is someone who was regularly unreliable. And I had to end up saying to him, you won't write a book. You are not ready to write a book. You basically don't have what it takes to write a book. You don't have the time. You don't have it as not so much that he doesn't have it as a priority, but he just wasn't clear on what any of his priorities were. And I was aware of some other things that he did have going on in his life. And I just knew he was going to struggle to even finish those things, let alone write a book. So I said to him, I can't be your book coach. You're not going to write a book. I said, but you do need my help. So he's actually one of my clients now. I'm doing executive coaching with him. And I said, let's sort out the personal stuff that's going to enable you to be someone who could write a book. And I don't know if that answers your question, Evelyn, but yeah, it shows up in their behaviors. How is he being with me? And that's when someone is apparently low on reliability and integrity and accountability, I want to help them. I view those things as being essential to experiencing a life of success and freedom and happiness. And so they're like ideal clients for me because I know that I can help those people.
Do they need to be aware that they don't have that already, or not necessarily?
I'd say, yeah. Well, the short answer is yes, they do need to be aware. Everything really starts with awareness, and most of the time they are aware. They just also give too much credibility to all of the excuses that they make. But we have results in life or reasons, right? But not both.
Yeah, I like to qualify people just as much as they're qualifying me. So that's important because I can't work with everyone, and I choose not to work with everyone. And one of the things is, of course, is reliability. Are you turning up on time? Are you cancelling meetings? But even if it gets to that point, it's gone too far. One of the things I like to work with people is on values, right? So that's the most fundamental, the base of what I like to try to work with people. If we share values, similar values, then we can work together. Because the other thing is, I don't work with people that think they know everything and they're not coachable. So hopefully what you can do is you can filter all this out in a conversation. Certainly I've been coaching or mentoring 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. I think they know everything, right? And they're the worst people to deal with because they're difficult, they're challenging, they're unreliable, they're always too busy. They're not aware of time, how time, how time is important, and they're not aware of the fact that they just think that I'm serving them, but it's actually the other way around. You're serving me. I'm helping you to become better, and they don't. And generally speaking, these sort of types of people lack self-awareness, and they're the sort of people I don't really want to work with. Having self-awareness is really important. But part of the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs is they're limited. They have cognitive biases which limits them into the way they approach things, and it's through due to mainly to hubris, ego, whatever you want to call it, and lack of self awareness. And when you look at why people start businesses, especially men, believe it or not, most men start businesses on ego. And I've done lots of research in why people start businesses, and one of the main reasons is I think about 30% of people start business because they want to be their own boss, which is the worst reason to start a business, because you yourself are the worst boss, right? When you're working for yourself, right? So worst idea to start a business. I think people should start a business because maybe solve a problem, they see a problem, whatever it is, right? But having ego and hubris always tends to limit what you can achieve or become successful. And an example is trying to, people haven't come to me with an idea, and essentially it's really hard to tell people that their baby's ugly, right? I call it the ugly baby syndrome. And they're holding this beautiful thing, and you look at it, it's going, but it's got like a moustache and beard and thick eyebrows and stuff. It's really ugly, but they just won't listen. And so part of my program is that when you go through the education process, you learn. One of the lessons is about cognitive biases, and the 4 cognitive biases we deal with things like cognitive dissonance, optimism bias is another one, the Dunning-Kruger effect, and confirmation bias as well. And confirmation bias is, hey, I've read it on Google, so it must be true, or read something on Google and it confirms to what I believe anyway. So if you're not able to go beyond those biases, I mean, there's like 100 biases, but they're the 4 most common ones. And the optimism bias is a funny one too, because they're optimistic, they're not realistic, right? And you try to tell them these things that they don't tend to listen. So they're not the people I want to work with. I want to go with people that essentially either have their minds already cleared, like they're just like a blank canvas, or they're willing to take out the stuff in their head they already know and then just put the right things back into it. So, so I'm very, very picky. So, yeah.
How did you find them when you had to deal with a situation where someone wasn't ready to be coached or to be helped? Do you let go a lot of them?
Yeah, I just tell them that there's other options. Just one example of a lady that came along and just recently, and she was an Iranian migrant, and she wanted to open up a cafe, right, serving particular styles of cakes and stuff. And I just said, why the hell would you want to open up a cafe in the middle of a pandemic? Like it's bricks and mortar. It's going to cost you money. You haven't got clients. It's a huge risk. Why don't you just start something like catering and then try it online first? Try it from your home. It's a low cost, and it doesn't get you out spending $100,000 or $70,000 to set something up that would probably fail anyway. So and she didn't want to listen. No, I want to open up my cafe. I was like, well, okay. There is a thing called NICE program which you can join. You just go there and so I was kind of handballing her off and said, this is the contact for NICE. You're really not in my league in terms of what I have to offer, because the other thing, of course, the problem is with a lot of these people, if you don't get the results that they expect, then that could also damage your brand as well. So all of a sudden they're saying, Tobi's coaching doesn't work, it's rubbish, all that sort of stuff. But they never do the projects, they never do the assignments, they never do anything. They're too busy. You're always chasing them. It just creates more headaches. So I don't want more headaches. I want to be able to successfully coach people. So if I just get a sniff of that, if I set a red flag, then I certainly will just say, look, I'm sorry, but I'm either busy. I mean, I had one client, and it's interesting, and they came to me with an idea, and they said, "Oh, we want a marketing plan. We want to, as a startup." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's like, you're in the wrong space here. And I told them, I can do your marketing plan for you, but it's going to cost you 12 grand. And they went, "Oh, it's a bit expensive." I went, "Yeah, but you don't have your fundamentals correct, and blah blah blah, and I'm not sure if it's going to work for you, but I can do it for you." And I said, "But if you come on with my coaching program for $9.97 a month, we can work these things out." And guess what? They came on the coaching program because they were, first of all, they got sticker shock, and I didn't want to work with them, right? In that sense, I mean, I could have done a marketing plan for $3 grand, but I thought I'll just charge them 12 grand because I actually don't want them as a client, right? More headaches than what it's worth. But hey, if they want to pay me 12 grand, I will do that work, right? Because I don't look at myself as a consultant. I used to consult, but I'm only a coach or a mentor, mainly a coach. So I don't do the work for you. I just tell you what you should be doing, and you go off and do it. Otherwise, what happens is you train these people to come along. You're the coach, but you end up being the consultant. So they, instead of paying 12 or 15 grand a month for a consultant, they want a consultant at the price of a coach, basically. So they want you to do all the work. And so what happens is you condition them to be running around doing all the work for them. No, it's not what I do, right? Your success is your own responsibility. And when people sign up to me, they make a statement clear. They're going to spend 3 to 5 hours developing themselves. At the bottom, they sign off and saying, "I take responsibility for my own success." It's not the coach. And I tell people that my process, I've tested it to over 500 students with some outstanding results. So the process itself works. If there's a failing, it's a human failing. So make that clear right from the start. So I just don't get this sort of mismatch that I can be a quasi consultant because I'm desperate for work or whatever, or fall into that conditioning. And that's I think setting boundaries is really important right from the start. So get those clear.
Can I say I love Tobi's clarity about who he works with? I think especially knowing the area in which you're working with people, like if you know that you're delivering a particular type of result around business, then you are going to need someone who's at a particular level. Over the 13 years I've been coaching, I've trained a lot of coaches. I also lectured at university teaching coaching, amongst other things, and spent about 4 years of my life traveling around the country teaching coaching to a lot of health professionals. And one thing I discovered is that a lot of coaches think that they're going to need to have all of the answers for their clients, or at least know all of the right questions to ask in order to elicit all of the answers and the ultimate result from their clients. And I was regularly teaching about the trans-theoretical model of change. And if you haven't heard of that, it's like the very first step is pre-contemplation, and the next step in the model is contemplation. And I say to all of these coaches in training, if you manage to shift your client just one step in that model in a coaching session, you've done an amazing job. Like, people think that they need to get their client from pre-contemplation to action and manifesting their results in like one coaching session. No, it doesn't happen like that. And that's one thing I'm picking up on what Tobi was saying with this example of someone who wanted to get this marketing result, and you ended up putting them into your training program. That's actually a shift from pre-contemplation to now I'm contemplating that actually I should be doing what Tobi's suggesting and getting into this program. And similarly with my client who wants to write a book, and I knew I can help this person, but not to write a book. You're not at the level of someone who needs to write a book, in the same way that Tobi's encountering people who are not at the level that they can do a business. But I'm at least happy to go, okay, but I'm happy to work with you to get you to that point, which I suppose is like what Tobi's saying anyway. I can get you to that point if you come into this program with me. So I think this is one thing that we need to be able to do as coaches, is really, we need to have awareness of where our clients are at. We only need to shift them one step at a time. And I'm not going to try and shoot for 100% when we haven't even got to 10% yet.
Yeah. And I get a lot of people coming to me from coaches. They say, I can't handle this person. I can't coach this person. And it's obvious because they're not ready, right? So where I work in, I don't actually compete with coaches. I work with coaches. So I'm in the 0 to 1 space, and most coaches are in the 1 to infinity space. So most of the people that come to coaches, they don't have a mission or vision or clarity or purpose or direction, and they say, I want to be coached. You can't coach those people to success, right? Because they don't have the fundamentals. But with what I do, we go through this process, and it's a process of lessons. And you really don't need coaching. You really need education. And if you're not aware of that, then obviously then you're never going to get anywhere, right? You're going to be spending money on doing $47 coaching programs and YouTube videos and going to this guru and that guru and just wasting time, right? Fact is, what I've been able to do is develop an efficient process. It's like a funnel, and basically people go into that funnel, right? And at the bottom is like a stage gate, right? And that funnel sort of captures all sorts of different people, takes them through a transformation process. It's about trying to do this in the most efficient way, and I believe the most efficient way is self-learning lessons. So that's why I've got this online program, and of course you have the coaching in between, every week or fortnight to sort of say, hey, how'd you go, whatever, just to keep them on track. But most people, the reason why they don't get ahead is they simply don't have the clarity. They're just trying to reach for the stars all over the place, and they don't have the focus. And one of the things about being a successful entrepreneur, and you look at anyone that's ever been a billionaire or a millionaire, they've just got this unwavering focus, and that focus allows them to have start with a burning desire, and then a focus, and then that's when the commitment comes, basically. But most entrepreneurs you come across, they've got 5 different ideas, and they're just all over the shop, and they're uncoachable, basically. So put them through an education process, and then send them off to Aveline or Andre or Kylie for coaching.
My understanding is that these billionaires, they have really cracked the code. They always choose the right coaches for the arena where they want to compete. They don't waste too much time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-awareness to get to that point as well. And one of the hindering factors is those cognitive biases. When you look at level 5 leadership or 6-star leaders, they're all highly self-aware. Basically, that's one of the things that it's important to have. And of course, there's another aspect with these type of billionaires is spiritual leadership as well. Which incidentally, I'm going to be doing a talk through the CC about spiritual leadership. That should be quite interesting, how to engage with that. But they have a certain je ne sais quoi quality, likes of Branson or the likes of Elon Musk, who are able to align people's self-interest in the same direction as the business. And again, there's a 6-star quality in terms of leadership.
Fascinating. I see this as an area that's always been around and relevant, right from, I don't know when this whole self-development kind of idea started. Was it, in what decade? But it seems to me that we're heading into a place where we are becoming far more in tune and aware with ourselves and our surrounds. I feel like, especially the last 2 years, people have been forced to get uncomfortable, forced to look outside of their habitual comfort zones. And because of that, there's these opportunities for them to grow through, feeling uncomfortable and having to let go, feeling the pain. Would you say that in order for someone to become self-aware, they've got to hit a wall or have some level of discomfort or go through something to wake them up? What's needed?
Do you want me to go first, or?
You can go, Toby. Yeah, please.
Yeah. in my experience, it may or may not be the case, right? So some people are born empaths, some people discover it, some people don't discover it. You look at a lot of entrepreneurs, they're they just lack self-awareness, and they'd never become truly successful, right? So there is certainly a link, because the link with self-awareness is having the empathy to understand other people, and especially clients. So if you just think, you've got the best thing in the world and people come to you, that's really lack of self-awareness. How people can gain the self-awareness, I mean, there are many ways, but the best way I've found is through reflection. Journaling, reflection, that certainly helps. It helps drive, because you've got to be able to understand where you're at, how you're feeling as well. You've got to connect with those feelings. And so how you're feeling is important, where you're at, and also having the ability to look at yourself from an external perspective. So that requires a bit of introspection and really knowing thyself, right? I think if you know thyself, then you can actually become self-aware, and then that's when you can actually become a really successful entrepreneur, because you're looking, like it's internally driven, you're looking externally to find solutions to problems, not just, hey, I have the problem, but some people just never get to that point. They might be 60 or 70, they might be wealthy, they might be a successful entrepreneur, but it's kind of like they don't get it, if that makes sense. All right, so does it have to need an event to occur? Possibly, but not, in my opinion, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know, I've been through a lot in my life, but I've also been really, really self-aware. But I also started journaling and reflecting, and one of the processes I do use, and I've been doing this since 1998, is a process of meditation, and that really helps you get through that self-awareness point as well, because you stop, you think, you reflect, basically. If people ask, how do I become self-aware, I always say, look, begin with either journaling, reflecting, and a process of meditation as well.
I agree with everything Tobi said, and a whole lot more, because there is no one answer to this question. The whole time I'm thinking, how could I summarize my answer to Evelyn? One succinct sentence. I'm often asking clients, give it to me in one sentence, because it forces the client to really think about their answer. But this is a hard one to answer in one sentence. But if I had to think of one thing that creates self-awareness, I would say it's willingness. The willingness to look. I think the people who are most self-aware are the ones who are constantly thinking, there is something I'm not seeing. Because there's bound to be. No matter how self-aware you are, there's going to be something you're not seeing. So you constantly live in a state of, I'm definitely missing something. And you choose to move forward knowing that you are missing something, which means you're willing and available whenever that thing happens to then appear and you can see it. As opposed to people who believe they already know everything that there is to know about their life and where they're at and where they're going. One of my all-time favorite quotes is Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And there are a lot of people who think that the reality that they live in is some form of fate. It's connected to responsibility in terms of, to what extent do I think that I create my world, or the world happens to me? And there are a lot of people who think that the world just happens to them. Sometimes they perceive it as an easier way to live, because taking responsibility can be scary for people. It means I've got to take ownership if things don't work out. But it's still the most empowered position to take.
Yeah, I think it helps if you're curious and always asking questions. I think that's really, really important. I mean, I've always been a curious child, but I used to really ask really stupid questions when I was a kid. Like ask the parents, like, why is the sky blue, and why are boys different from girls? And my parents are just but that's just the nature. I think that maybe that helps, having a curious nature and always asking questions, always wondering. I know it's important for entrepreneurship, but for self-awareness, maybe that's a thing.
And I think to answer also part of your question, Evelyn, about does someone need to have some tragedy happen to them? Well, not necessarily. There are people who have tragedies or terrible things happen that still are unaware. But sometimes it can be the trigger. Sometimes it does. So there's no sort of hard and fast rule around that, I think.
Fascinating.
Yeah, true.
I'm looking at the clock, and I don't know where the last 55 minutes has gone. Absolutely amazing conversation. I'm so deep in here, I almost don't want to come out. It's like, I don't want to get out of the bathtub. No, it's too nice. When you're a kid. Sorry, Toby, you're talking about being a kid. That was my thing. Yeah. So if you could sum up, can we sum up? I think you guys have so eloquently talked about self-awareness and willingness as the ingredients for someone to start that path or be ready to be 6-star. And without the self-awareness, they're not able to be 6-star. Having a willingness and an openness and curiosity and I think that comes out of being accepting that you don't know everything. There's more to learn about yourself and about the world. Is part of that. Have I summed up that piece sufficiently?
Well, I think also you've got to surround, like, to want to be 6-star, you've got to surround yourself with amazing people, shining people. Like, don't think you're the smartest person in the room. I know it's a bit cliche to say, if you're in the room and you're the smartest person, you're in the wrong room. Well, that's true, but it's cliche. I think that if you want to become a 6-star business, you've got to sort of let your ego go and say, hey, I'm happy to work with people that are a lot smarter than me, right? And then people to shine, basically, and you can all grow together, whatever it is, and fill in those niches that are missing in your life. But you've got to be able to accept that. So it takes a bit of humility as well as self-awareness to coming back to sort of wrap up this about the 6-star. And I guess the other thing is you've got to have a will as well. I think Kylie sort of led on to that as well. You've got to have amazing will to be a 6-star business. So yeah, self-awareness, humility, and just the will. And when I talk about the will, it's not your own will that's coming. It's the will, the good for the greater purpose. Whether it's the vehicle, the organisation that you're working for, it's not about self-interest will, because if you're self-interested, you can do anything really. But it's more for the greater good. That kind of makes sense. Yeah.
And I think one thing that underpins all of those wonderful things Toby just said, and all the things you just said, Evelyn, is vulnerability. I was just thinking it takes a level of vulnerability to be willing to be aware, because you don't know what you're going to find if you're willing to just walk into the dark and see what you're going to discover. And to be willing requires vulnerability as well, because, the reason we sometimes are not willing to do something or to even just look is because we're afraid of what we're going to find if we do, or what the result is going to be if we take action and we fail. So, maybe I think vulnerability might underscore a lot of all of that.
Yeah. And I think that that's where good coaching and mentoring comes into it. It's important because a lot of the time, I get some of my clients they're on this journey, this transformational journey, and I'm like, I can relate to that. I've been there, and they go, "Wow, you really understand." And I go, so you want to be able to find people that you can actually guide and coach you. So these feelings do come up. These things, there's a place for them somewhere. Someone can understand you. You might say you get this feeling or something, and you talk to your spouse, and the spouse just says, "You're crazy. What the hell are you talking to?" And then you turn around and say, "Well, no one understands me." But finding the right, what do you want to call it, mentor, guru, whatever it is. If it's religious, then it might be guru. Is really, really important. One that can understand those vulnerabilities and relate to those vulnerabilities. Otherwise, it just may lead to a point of just being, I just feel isolated and lost. Right? So kind of build your tribe, which is what I'm trying to do with my own tribe.
I really love that.
There's a lot of gold in your messages. Amazing. I think, the next stage maybe for a lot of people who have been sleeping through the last 5-10 years is to maybe find these communities and teams. And this is where I see the 6-star community, maybe other communities as well. But it's not just a coaching relationship, but there's several nurturing environments, open-minded people helping each other.
Yeah,
How do you see that?
absolutely. Well, I
Oh,
think.
sorry. I thought you were wrapping up, Andra.
Yeah,
Yeah, you go first, Toby.
Yeah. I think the thing is, you've got to have that trusting environment to release those vulnerabilities, I think, and build up. And I've formed through the Connect Collaborative. I've been building a team, and when we get together on a Friday, 7 p.m., and there's about 10 or 11 people in the team now. We don't talk shop. We don't talk business. We just talk crap, basically. Talk, as I say, the Poms call it talk shite, right? It's about getting to know each other. And then what's happened now is over the last 2 weeks, we've started this thing called the chopping block. So you get an hour of our time, and you tell your story, and then it's facilitated by someone asking questions. And we've got some really we've had only 2 weeks now. The last 2 sessions have been some amazing vulnerabilities come through in people, and to be able to get to that point, you've really got to be you've got to trust. You've got to be able to trust those other people to get to that point, to tell us about your addictions, or your suicide attempts, or whatever it is, or whatever that comes up in these things, right? And I think that's great, because once you start, revealing your vulnerabilities, this is where you start building your tribe, basically, and you're able to build that community. And that's a really great point to get to that. So I'm looking forward to this week's thing, the third person to come on, and will they share their vulnerabilities? But it's also having the right questions to ask, and you need to facilitate it to ask the right questions to be able to get the people to share the vulnerabilities. So,
well, I think we could easily talk another hour on that. As much as I don't want to bring this to an end, I'm really respectful of your time. As we do wrap up, I'd love to ask you both to think of something to share with our audience, our listeners, maybe a gem, a takeaway, something they can just absorb that's related to this conversation, or just a nugget, a piece of wisdom. I'd love to hear from you both.
Okay, a nugget. Ooh, the pressure. I would say take action. No matter what happens, you can handle it. And how do I know this? Even though I've never met you, whoever is listening to this, I know you can handle it, because you always do. Everything that's happened in your life so far, you've handled it. Maybe it looked a bit messy. Maybe it didn't look the way that you thought it would look when you handled it, but you still handled it and you learned. So always move forward in faith, knowing that no matter what the outcome is, you can handle it.
It's great. I want to add something very similar, and that is just continually progress. You just keep stepping, keep moving forward. You always will get barriers, right? And just as an entrepreneur, you learn to go around those, smashing under, in, out, over. But what I would say is, every single day you must improve. Right? Even if it's 1% per day. Right, when you look at over a year, it's like 3.5 times you've improved your capabilities, or your abilities, basically. So just try not to take big steps. My advice is try to take small steps, quick steps, but continually just keep looking forward, and looking up at that shining star I was talking about before. Really important, right? So that's my advice.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Kylie.
Thank you too.
That's just wonderful. I'm so grateful. Indra, any final thoughts or comments from yourself?
I appreciate your time. It was amazing.